The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taormina.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Taormina, blogger of the Dragons Insider, blog of Inside the OAA. One of the hosts of Tween Taorminas, and also one of the hosts of the new show, Last Three Brain Cells.
Yeah, it's that's a fun show.
It is.
What do you call it? Fantasy football.
Fantasy
all that
football show.
good
We'll
stuff.
talk college football a little bit. I mean, me and Ian Witherspoon, actually, I'm host of the show.
Yep.
And
that one's not on camera-wise. That's still just on SoundCloud. So
Yep,
if you go to
it's on
orionontv.org and click on a video on demand, scroll down to SoundCloud, you can listen to the last three brains.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's a new show that me and Ian do. I mean, like, we do that on the Local Voice on SoundCloud. So it's a great show. I encourage everybody, if you want your fantasy football information from me, I mean, like, tune in. I encourage you to do that.
How did your team do?
I'm on the verge of being Anthony this week.
Hey.
I do want to send my condolences to
to
Stony Creek High School. They had a
Absolutely.
17-year-old, Elijah Volchich. She was struck by a car on Monday, October 18th. She passed away. The community raised more than $100,000 to help with the medical bills. It's unfortunate, you know what I mean. That
It is. You can say thoughts and prayers all you want. Send them out if you got them.
Mm-hmm.
Donate if you can.
I know a lot of
I can't imagine the parents. And the unfortunate thing too, Sammy, is in the story is this fellow student.
was
driving the car.
Driving the car. Yeah.
So to that person and their family too, right?
Our condolences in OA Nation here to
Absolutely.
Elijah Volk and her family. Let's look at everything around the league this week. I mean, we got to talk playoffs. They were announced. Obviously, we'll talk that, but we got the roundup. Obviously, we got to look at as well.
A lot of things happened.
A lot of things happened. You know what I mean? A lot of things we got to talk about this week. Surrounding what happened last week in Week 9. So here's the roundup. Ian, take it away.
All right. All right, okay. So the last games of the regular season were concluded in football and all that good stuff. And my goodness, could we have asked for a more interesting final regular season matchups than we had last Friday and Saturday?
Yep.
All right, to get it underway. Bloomfield Hills, Sammy's favorite team in the OAA.
No.
21-10 over Troy, a big win, undefeated season, takes the crown. And Andrew Sierperski, what can you say about this guy? Tied for fourth best in the MHSA history with 4 interceptions in one game?
Yep.
Insane. Also had a 13-yard TD reception. Cole Rodriguez, 9-yard TD run for Bloomfield Hills. Max Stromberg, 33-yard TD pass to Xavier Newell for Troy.
I was shocked that they shut down Darius Whiteside in that game.
It happened. Bloomfield Hills. And we're going to talk about who do they see in the first round of the playoffs.
Yikes.
Avondale completes the turnaround on the season. They're back. Are they back? Taking down Troy Athens 30-10, Sammy.
I think a lot of that has to do with their quarterback back, Jake Herzog. I think he's back, and that explains a lot.
Obviously, that's a huge turnaround. Berkeley 42-8 over Pontiac. Tough way for Pontiac at the end of the season, but they're showing signs of improvement.
They're showing great signs. They're showing positive signs.
Absolutely. And Berkeley with 42 doing what Berkeley does. Frazier takes down Royal Oak 54-13. Harper Woods 23-6 over Ecorse. Farmington 28-6 over Ferndale. Jacob Sanders 2 rushing TDs. Dominic Peschel 2 passing touchdowns for Farmington. Ann Arbor Huron takes care of Rochester 31-14.
That was a head scratch for me. That one. I mean, I didn't think that Ann Arbor Huron would go into Rochester and win that game.
Go into Rochester.
Yeah, they're 8-1 now, but still.
Yes. But, yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I thought it'd be tighter, if not an outright win for Rochester. Traverse City Central, 56. North Farmington, 0. We kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, we did.
It's unfortunate that's how they ended their season at home with that crazy lopsided loss. Adams continues to do it. Adams does 42-6 over Detroit Renaissance. Griffin Henke, 3 rushing touchdowns. Joey Shallow and Brady Prescore have a receiving touchdown each for Adams. Clarkston continues the roll through the regular season. 50-28 over Oak Park. Ethan Clark, I think he was in the 300 yard range.
Almost 400.
5 touchdowns or 4?
5.
Okay, we lost count. So 4 touchdowns for Clarkston. 337 yards. Unbelievable. Sterling Heights Stevenson, 24-23 over Groves in a heartbreaker.
That was a good game, Adam. Beverly Hills. That was a really good game there.
Stavon's Panos, 9-yard TD run, and who was that? BG trailed, what was it, 24-7, but came back and couldn't get the 2-point conversion. They had a chance. Groves goes down 24-23. Stony Creek, 43-21 over Seaholm. Jacob Best, 58-yard TD run. Also had a passing touchdown to Jonah McKay. Zach Hagler, 2 rushing touchdowns. Luke McKay, also a rushing touchdown. John Fogler, 22-yard rushing touchdown. And a fumble recovery for Stony Creek. West Bloomfield, 42-24 over Utica Eisenhower. Brandon Davis Swan, 3 sacks. D'Angelo Thomas, kickoff return for a touchdown. What?
Yep.
Samaj Morgan does what he does best. 4 touchdowns, 3 receiving, and 1 throwing. Dwayne Herring. Rickwan Nance, 3 passing touchdowns, all to Morgan for West Bloomfield. They are clicking on all cylinders.
And also Dylan Tatum had a rushing touchdown.
Of course he did.
Yes, he did.
River Rouge, 45. Southfield A&T, 44. And another heartbreaker. Aaron Marshall, 3 passing and 1 rushing TDs. Davion Young, 2 receiving touchdowns, and Javon Jones rushing touchdown for A&T. That was on television.
That was on Valley Sports Detroit.
Yeah, I caught the second half of that one. Defense. Where can you be?
Fifth straight game, they gave up over 40.
Yeah, but both sides, tough on the D. Oxford continues to show why they are the team to talk about in the second half of the OAA season. Oxford 29-28 over Chippewa Valley. John Asusto, game-winning 2-yard TD run, had successful 2-point conversion to get the win for Oxford. Unbelievable.
It was crazy over there.
On the road.
It was at Oxford.
It was? Okay, good. There you go. There's your 3-point swing if you're on home.
It was at Oxford.
Good for them because, on the road, maybe that doesn't happen.
But Oxford's proven they can win on the road, though.
They have, right? We're going to talk about them.
Uh-huh.
All right, Saline, 34-21 over Lake Orion. A little closer than we thought it might be. It was a good, hard-fought game. Kyler Carson had 2 rushing touchdowns. James Patterson had an interception return for a touchdown for Lake Orion. That's it for the OAA Rundown. All right, a lot to unpack there. A lot of close games, Sammy.
Some close games, a lot of blowouts. I mean, obviously the probably when you look at a lot of people talked about was the Bloomfield Hills Troy game.
Yes.
That was a really odd score. I mean, Bloomfield Hills technically did not score 3 touchdowns. I mean, the traditional 3 touchdowns of 7 points. I mean, they had a couple field goals put in there. It was 15 and 18 and 21. I mean,
so they found a way to score.
They found a way to score in that game against Troy. I mean, but it was a turnover fest in that game a little bit. I mean,
4 interceptions.
Andy Sapersky did, yeah.
Unbelievable. I can't. And that was tied. You said it was tied,
for the there was at least 3 guys that had 5, and then most
fourth
of
best.
Yep.
In all time.
All time.
Yeah, that's wild.
To throw why if you're Troy, if you're Chris Bridger, why would you throw his way?
No kidding.
Why would you throw his way?
But sometimes those kids are that good that no matter what you do, coaches will put them in their position, but they find a way. Don't you think? I mean, those star players find a way.
Absolutely, they find a way. I mean, like, you got to look at, obviously, Sapersky put a mark in this game. I mean, obviously, when you look at Bloomfield Hills, obviously, they have a quarterback in C.J. Jackson. They have Shane Winter. They have Andrew Sapersky.
They have a kicker.
They have a good kicker as well. I mean, like, so when you look at this game here for Bloomfield Hills, you're riding high going into the postseason.
Undefeated.
And then let's look at the other side. If you're Troy, you're coming off you're coming off a tough loss to Bloomfield Hills. You lost the blue title. Now you got to pick yourself back up and get ready for the postseason.
So wasn't that the title bout?
It was the title bout.
It was the title bout.
Mm-hmm. But for Troy, I mean, like, obviously you need more from Darius Whiteside. You need more from him, and then you need more from, if you can get more out of him, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think he'll be fine. I mean,
the only thing that concerns me with Bloomfield Hills is if they had to result to touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't find the end zone.
Right.
That can be problematic. But again,
Cole Rodriguez had a good touchdown for them, rushing touchdown.
Yeah, but like you're saying, they had issues. They were kicking field goals and such.
Mm-hmm.
Playoffs, sometimes you just got to find a way to score.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And talking about who they're going to be matched up with in the first round, you need touchdowns.
Yeah, against that team? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, then you look at others. I mean, obviously, probably the biggest head scratcher I know you were really surprised about was that 56-0 blowout by Traverse City Central over North Farmington. You knew Traverse City Central had.
I knew they were coming in. I want to say I was surprised at it, but it's one of those yikes, right? It's a tough way to end the season. They were limping into this game, and
they started off hot.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 3-0. I mean, like, they were 3-0. They beat Farmington to kick off the year. They stunned Lake Orion, and then they blew out Groves. I mean, like, and then the game that really doomed their season was when they led 17-0 at Oak Park.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, that's when everything started falling apart.
Yeah, and what do you do? Is it a confidence thing? Is it, but we know Traverse City Central is no slouch.
I think they're the favorite in Division II.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, Sammy. And so you bring somebody in like that who is hotter than hot, and you guys are limping along, and it's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So they just got to regroup, forget this season, move on, and try to rebuild.
They do lose Jasper Beeler. They lose Aaron Rice. I mean, they do have Ryan Shelby coming back. Program strength is a big-time concern for North Farmington next year, and I think that's something that if you're Coach John Herstein, you got to address that. I mean, program strength over there at North Farmington just doesn't look very good going forward, and that's a big concern.
Well, you're hoping they can bounce back and, you just forget about 21.
Yeah. I mean, like, and then you look at other scores around there. Obviously, what game really head scratched you?
A head scratcher?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I had a head scratcher. I was pleased to see Lake Orion and Saline that it wasn't some 60 bagel affair. Dragons played tight. They played it kind of close. They were respectable. Going into Saline, is no easy task.
No.
So that was, as a homer here, sure, yeah, that made me feel okay. Maybe we can build on that. The one game that I was following and had to know the results was the Clarkston Chippewa Valley game.
Oxford
Chippewa Valley.
Mm-hmm.
That was my game of the week. They've been the team that I've been really, wow, what is happening up there?
I can tell you what's happening there.
Good things.
I mean, when you have a senior-heavy team like Oxford does, you have a very good quarterback in Brady Carpenter.
Yes.
You have John Achusto, who has filled that running back role really nicely.
Yes.
Trent Mears starting to become more of a tight end. And then you look at, obviously, Alec Brown there has been solid at wide receiver. I mean, like, it's their senior class. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's been huge.
It's been great to watch. We saw at the beginning of the season. We knew the gauntlet they were running.
Yes, and that was a murder's roll of schedule.
Horrible, right?
Horrible
There's only a couple other teams in the OAA that had something similar, right?
Lake Orion and South A&T are probably the only two I know that have murder's roll schedules.
Tough, right? I mean, just like you go, ooh, boy. And what do? They ride that schedule into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're riding it in.
Into the playoffs. And
big win against the Scott Merchant type team. I mean, that is a monster win against that team.
Absolutely.
And for Oxford to and then credit to Coach Zach Lyon for going for the win. Putting your season on the line. I mean, like, you're putting your whole season on the line, and then they convert to win that game. I mean, like,
can you imagine the boost those kids are feeling? It's like, we're going to go win this game.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to win this game. And they went out there and they did it. And
they were up 21-0 early at halftime against Chippewa. They were up 21. Then Chippewa came back. Storming back the third quarter, took the lead 28-21. And then Oxford found a way. They scored a touchdown late with about a minute to go. Got the 2-point conversion.
Unbelievable.
Huge win for Coach Zach Lyon and his team. It's a character win for that team over there at Oxford.
Oh,
character win.
Absolutely. It's one of those W's that you're going to talk about for a long time. Because what did we see? Limping along, losing games, tough start to this season. And then they go win 5 of 6.
Yeah.
And the 5 of 6 wasn't some cupcake roll of dessert treats on a platter. I mean, these are tough teams.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then to win at least 3 of them were on the road. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To say the least. I mean, like, and then that's another important step. I mean, this team knows how to win on the road. I mean, they can go into somebody's house and win. It's not just winning on the blue turf. It's just winning on the road. And I think that's the thing that Oxford's really done.
And that's so hard to do.
It is.
And consistently win on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's so difficult because you have to be dialed in.
Right.
You have to tune out the noise, and you have to be ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not ready to go, any night on the road around the OAA or whomever you're going to play in Southeast Michigan could be disaster.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. When you look at Oxford, I mean, like, their road, obviously, one of the most murder schedules I've ever seen in a long time. I mean, like, they didn't look good against Romeo, didn't look good against Adams. I mean, like, I think the game that really turned it around, was that win at Lake Orion. I think that was the one that won it. You know what I mean? That turned their season around.
That started it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gave them the boost, the confidence. They take down their big rival, and that momentum carried them. I think that it was like a snowball effect.
Well, and then they had that game with West Bloomfield as well when they lost by 10. You know
yes,
what I mean?
But they held tight.
Right?
That was a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
And so they knew they could play with anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
when you believe that, you can play with anyone, and you can beat anyone.
You can beat anyone, and that's what happened. That's what Oxford did.
Exactly. And I think Oxford, in my opinion, they are the story of the second half of this season.
I have to agree with you, Ian. I have to agree with you. Oxford is
it's the story. That's the story.
It's the story because when you look at Oxford, when I looked at my final rankings, I mean, I had Oxford finishing at 4. And that's something I did not expect with Oxford. I said, okay, how is this team going to do with that murder's row of a schedule? I mean, like, during media day, I said, I felt so bad for these kids. I felt so bad that that schedule looked vicious, and and there were some proven heavyweights in
yes,
there. I mean,
absolutely.
Beside the Red, you had to play Romeo, you had to play Adams, you had to play Chippewa Valley. I mean, like, that's brutal.
Yeah.
And then Rochester, we know about them. I mean, we'll talk to them in a minute, but it's that schedule is just so brutal.
And having, we'll call it the second year of Coach Lyon's tenure, right, at Oxford, it really was the first in a way.
Yeah.
Because, talking to the other coaches, we know last year was just kind of, let's get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Kids will play. Let's get some mental health in here. Just help the kids. Get these kids out there and playing. This was the first season, and what did you see?
And you saw progress.
Oh.
You saw a lot of experience. You know what I mean? Oxford had I think they have started
They used the players they had, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put them in the right positions and used them the best they could. It was
I think when you look at Oxford, obviously, you know the changing of the guard, the changing of the helmets, obviously, was a symbol of that. But when you look at the Wildcats, I mean, like, the next few years, I mean, this senior class has been really, really good for Oxford.
Oh, absolutely.
Really good. I mean, like, and there was a lot of talent on this senior class. I mean, there's no doubt there. The problem that I have is when you look at Oxford is can they sustain it?
Yes.
That's the big question heading into next year. I mean, their JV had some struggles this year. I mean, their freshman was pretty good. Their freshman went 8-1. So now you got to look at program strength with Zach Lyon's team.
Yeah.
Can they sustain? That is,
and we've seen that with Wildcat teams in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They come out and they have 3 key players: a strong running back, strong quarterback, a tight end that is just a beast, or a receiver that's a beast. Solid defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they graduate, and what do you get the next year?
Yeah.
Mediocre play, 500 or under. Can they sustain?
From 2018 to 2019, that's the big question for Coach Zach Lyon.
Yeah.
Is going to be, can they sustain? That is the big, big question. I'm looking at Oxford next year.
Yeah.
I mean, so there are a lot of questions surrounding Oxford.
Yeah, can they sustain it? But right now,
they're
riding high,
You're riding high, baby. You're riding high, baby.
Good stuff.
I do want to talk. We got to talk Avondale here. I mean,
Yes.
you were just going like, what are you thinking here? I mean, they come in to beat Athens 30-10, basically eliminated Troy Athens from playoff contention.
Shock.
And
I can't believe that. Good for them.
They finished 4-5, but they're in the playoffs because of Division III.
Are we gonna do matchups now and stuff?
We'll wait in that.
All right, because pre-show we were talking about who made it, who's in, who's out, who knocked whatever. Here's the playoff points. It literally made my head explode.
Mm-hmm.
I go, you cannot be serious. Some of the teams in the OAA that made it in, some that did not.
Mm-hmm.
Avondale, obviously they're doing something right now.
I think Jake Herzog being back helps big time.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah.
And kudos to them. They beat
Coach Corey Bell and his staff.
Yes, they beat a decent Athens team,
and
soundly. And
I could not believe that. I was shocked how they
and
beat
it got
Athens.
them in.
It got them in. You know what I mean? It got them in. I mean, anytime, and then you look at obviously, with them. I mean, now, nobody expected this from Avondale. I mean, they struggled. You know what I mean? They had some tough losses.
They
lost to
big.
Farmington 2 weeks ago, and I said to myself, "There's no way they can make it." You know what I mean? Then they beat Athens. I mean, what the heck?
I know. It's one of those. Did Athens come in sleepwalking, think they're gonna roll over them? I mean, could they be overlooking? Going, hey, I just don't get it.
I know they're a good team. They're an athletic team, obviously.
Yes, and we've been talking about it all season. Going, what is wrong with
Avondale?
What's their deal?
What's the deal? I mean, I think that they must have changed something. They must have changed the offensive identity or something. They must have. Because
they got it done and they're in.
They got it done and they're in Division III.
And this is the the playoff point system. This is the first year of it, right?
This is the first year of it.
And we're finding, right?
There's a couple teams.
I'm kind of laughing, going, "Is this what we're going to be dealing with?" There's a couple teams
that were 6-3 that didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't get in.
Yeah, I mean, and then you look at obviously a team that was we thought would get in. Rochester was a team we thought would get in.
Yes, and they didn't.
I mean, the way they lost to Ann Arbor Huron, you know what I mean? Ann Arbor Huron's a heck of a team. They're a good team, but I was surprised that they didn't get in. You know what I mean? I was surprised that. What hurts here is Stony Creek was the first team out in Division I.
Yes.
I mean, Fraser barely snuck in past them.
A tenth of a point.
And I'll tell you, and I think I know what happened there. That Thursday night game between Detroit Cass Tech and Orchard Lake St. Mary's, that game got Detroit Cass Tech in the playoffs. That basically
bumped everybody,
and it bumped Stony Creek out.
So that tells you're not in charge of your own destiny.
No, you're not.
I don't care for that, man. I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it.
And now this brings up another question.
Because if you were watching Stony Creek, that's a playoff team all day.
Yes, it is.
Playoff team.
And now you look at this. Now, here's the question I have for you. 8 games, everybody makes the playoffs. Do you think that happens next year?
Well,
I know we talked with several coaches about this, but now this opens the door.
Well, I don't know. Because I'd like to see some other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
If they had teams that got bumped like this. How is Rochester not a playoff team? Any other year, they're a playoff team.
Sure.
Stony is a playoff team.
Sure.
Avondale gets in.
Avondale gets in. Because
A couple wins gets them in.
a lot of that they're in D3. You know what I mean?
I know, but still they're in, and so other people are at home.
Mm-hmm.
It just blows my mind. I knew this was going to happen.
And then you look at, of course, playing a strength of schedule component. Obviously, it helped Oxford, but it certainly didn't help Lake Orion or A&T.
No, not at all. No.
I mean, like playing that type of schedule.
I mean, Lake Orion needed another W.
Yes, they did.
I mean, straight up, they needed another win.
Mm-hmm.
They get another win. I think they potentially could. If they had 4, they potentially could have. But it all depends on. I mean, Stoney's out by 1/10 of a point.
Yes.
And if it was those margins were so tight that any other team winning or losing down the line out of OAA could have rippled it all about, and they could have been out by 1/10 of a point.
Mm-hmm.
If it was that close and Stoney doesn't get in. So this is our new reality, everyone.
Yeah, it's our new reality.
Right? Playoff points.
Playoff points. You know what I mean? It's a new reality. And then you look at, of course, I'll be honest with you. The game on Bally Sports Detroit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought Bloomfield Hills and Troy should have been on Bally Sports. That's how I thought.
For a league title.
For a league title. Both teams undefeated.
Yes.
But, they went with River Rouge and A&T.
Why?
I don't know why.
Well, I mean, one thing, the entertainment value of that game was pretty high.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was really high.
You're talking 45-44 shootout.
Rouge needed a 2-point conversion to win that game, with about 28 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot of action. Of the 10 minutes I was watching in the second half, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot going on.
Well, you gotta look at obviously both offenses have been stout all year, and then both teams defensively looked horrendous.
Horrible.
And then so that explains a lot of it,
Yeah.
But for A&T's sake, obviously, for me with A&T, program strength is a big concern for them. I mean, yes, Isaiah Marshall's coming back. They have another good receiver coming back. But when you look at A&T, program strength is a big concern for me for Coach Aaron Marshall. It is a big, big concern. I mean, Isaiah Marshall's going to be back next year, obviously. I mean, but you got to address your program strength. And I don't know if.
Well, you mentioned that about other teams as well, right?
North Farmington, A&T, basically in the same boat.
I mean, you can throw Pontiac in there, too.
Throw Pontiac in there, yeah.
Berkeley's kind of settled in, right? We heard a couple years ago they had issues, but now they're settling in, they're rocking and rolling.
Yep.
Program strength isn't something that you can change overnight.
No.
It takes years.
Mm-hmm.
So where are they in that process of building that program strength?
You got to wonder. That's the question, obviously, with A&T. I mean, program strength is a big-time question for them, and it's still going to be that for them going forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look at other teams, Royal Oak, you know what I mean, another team that's got some questions, with program strength. And then, of course, Farmington, they've won 4 or 5 to close out the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were limping there for a while.
They were limping.
Yep, and they did it quietly. It was one of those just kind of, we're always looking at the big boys in the red, the West Bloomfield and Clarkston and Oxfords and so on, and they quietly put together a solid second half.
Yes, indeed, and I think that's the thing. Obviously, Farmington, I mean, they got some questions next year, but Peschel's back. That's a huge thing for them. West Bloomfield, Utica, Eisenhower, you knew that was going to be a really interesting game. I didn't think Ike would score 24 points, especially without Preston Crum, but they did. But West Bloomfield, obviously, Samaj Morgan showed up, and he had a day. Yeah, and then Dylan Tatum had a day.
Understatement.
Mm-hmm. And then
last time we saw Ike, it was Lake Orion, right?
Yeah, and Lake Orion just torn to shreds,
to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but West Bloomfield is doing what they do.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel the momentum I did last year with them.
Mm-mm.
I do feel that momentum with Clarkston, though.
Yes, and they won 50-28 over Oak Park. There was a lot of controversy surrounding that game when it came to clock issues.
Really?
When it came to screw jobs, you know what I mean? So basically,
where was the game played?
Oak Park.
At Oak Park.
So, but anytime you have Ethan Clark there, it takes care of that problem.
Running 300-plus yards.
Yes. So anytime you have Ethan, so if you're getting ripped off or anything, if you're Coach Kirk Richardson, just run Ethan Clark.
Yeah.
It
settles any argument you may have.
Of course, it settles any argument. Yes.
Right.
You just run Ethan Clark.
Yeah. That line. How good is that offensive line playing for them right now?
They're playing well, and let's not forget they lost 2 All-American offensive linemen.
Yes.
And Cole Dillner's played really well. They've got some really good pieces there up front.
Absolutely.
I mean, Kurt Richardson's really doing something.
Well, the passing game, the running game,
yeah,
defense is solid.
Defense is a little concerning.
I'd say solid. I'm not saying stout.
Mm-hmm.
Solid.
And that's where it comes. We ready to talk playoff matchups?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. We're at 30 some minutes.
Beautiful. All right, let's go to D3 first. Let's talk Harper Woods taking on River Rouge. I mean, when you look at Harper Woods, they finished the year at they were 7-2. Had a really good win against E-Course. E-Course was coming in really good as well.
Yeah.
River Rouge, we talked about them against A&T. I mean, when you look at Harper Woods, obviously Christian Stokes, Vinny Boot, Jacob Oden, you got to really talk about there with those 3. Rob Olden's done a really nice job at Harper Woods. I mean, this is like a prelude to the OAA if you're Harper Woods, because next year you're going to be in the league. And you look at what the Woods has done. I mean, just outstanding. Playing that type of schedule. Their schedule is brutal.
It
was. Playing against Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Warren D. LaSalle, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep. I mean, and then Pinckney also. I mean, just brutal. I mean, just brutal.
Yeah, they play a tough one as an independent currently, right? Regular season's over. The thing is, they can score points, but they also have a defense that can shut you down.
Yes, and they did that against E-Course. E-Course is a pretty good team. I mean, defensively. I mean, obviously the key, I think, for Harper Woods, and looking at this game with River Rouge, I mean,
Rouge can put up the points. We saw that.
Yes, Rouge can put up points, but they can give up points as well.
Yes.
So I don't think Harper Woods is going to have any problem. We'll do picks in a little bit, but I don't think Harper Woods will have any problem scoring points in this game. And it's on their home field, which is really good for Harper Woods.
Again, this is D3.
Yes, it's D3. So it'll be really interesting to see that match between Harper Woods and River Rouge. Now let's stay with D3, and you got Avondale.
Unbelievable.
Uh-huh.
Shocking. Unbelievable.
You know who their first round opponent is?
No.
Birmingham Brother Rice.
Oh, ouch.
That is at Lawrence Tech at Southfield, which I just don't understand.
Why are they playing at Lawrence Tech and not a home game?
Because
is that their home field?
That's technically, quote, their home field, even though I would have thought, maybe for Birmingham Brother Rice, playing their games at, they could play their games at Bloomfield Hills, or, obviously, because, Bloomfield Hills technically has 2 football fields.
Yeah.
They have 2 stadiums. Formerly at Losser, and then of course you have the newer one over at the Andover campus. But if it was me, I wish Birmingham Brother Rice would have played their games at Bloomfield Hill at the old Losser.
Well, playing at Lawrence Tech, it's also a recruiting bit for Lawrence Tech. You go there, you see the field, you see the stuff, right? I mean, that's part of it too. That's why Lawrence Tech allows them to use it. Right?
Right. It's the same thing Warren D. LaSalle, Wayne State.
Right. Exactly. Same deal.
I am really concerned about this game if you're Avondale.
Because
you're going to be starstruck going to Lawrence Tech, you know what I mean, taking on a Brother Rice team who's played a by far more tougher schedule than you.
Larger stadium. They're used to it. Right, we talked about this. The sight lines are different. The atmosphere is different.
Playing in a college stadium compared to playing in a high school stadium.
Yeah, it's just bigger. It changes. The angles look different, that sort of thing. So if they can accommodate.
If you're Coach Corey Bell, you're going to have to really prepare your team for playing at that venue.
Yeah. Acclimation's key.
Acclimation's going to be key there. And then you got to look at Birmingham Brother Rice from a talent perspective. This is a really good team. I know Coach Adam Koretsky very, very well what he wants to do at Brother Rice.
All right.
They're going to try to balance it out. And it'll be a test for Avondale playing that type of game.
See, and this is one of those Avondale in the playoffs and some of the D1 teams that didn't make it, and this is what makes my head explode.
Mm-hmm.
Just unbelievable. Anyway.
And then
Good for Avondale, you're in.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to now D2. Berkeley. You know what I mean?
No surprise.
Top seed in their side of the
They
district.
should be.
They should be. They got an interesting matchup with Waterford Mott in the first round. Obviously, we know what Chris Farr is more than capable of doing. Berkeley is an honorary member of the Lakes Valley Conference.
What?
Honorary member of the Lakes Valley Conference. Because the other teams in the other side of their matchups, who if they win, they'll either get Lakeland or Walled Lake Western. So that's why I call them an honorary member.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because you look at this game, you look at Berkeley. People are going to say, well, they haven't played the schedule as Waterford Mott has. I mean, Waterford Mott's played, they got some players on that team.
Yes.
And I know you have experience with the Waterford area.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Because you know what Coach Chris Farr has done over there. I mean, it's been like
Mott teams are always gritty, man.
Yes,
they are tough. They are gritty, and you better play until that clock reads 0.
So if
you don't, it'll get you.
If you're Berkeley, you know what I mean. You're now prepared. You gotta. If you're Coach Sean Shields, you gotta prepare now for basically everything. You know what Mott's gonna try to do to you. You know what I mean. So basically, this could be. People ask me, could this be Berkeley's toughest test? Because Waterford Mott, different conference, but let's not forget this team played Livonia Clarenceville. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Clarenceville on the road, really, Clarenceville is better than what people think.
Yeah.
And they beat them. I mean, Waterford Mott, I know they played a more farther, tougher schedule. You're playing against the likes of South Lyon,
yes.
South Lyon East.
Yep.
You got to play Milford, Lakeland, Walled Lake Western. I mean, Walled Lake Northern. I mean, then they coming off an impressive blowout of Waterford Kettering last week. So if you're Berkeley, this is going to be a tough matchup for you.
It's going to be a test.
It'll be a test.
It will be a test.
Mm-hmm.
The question I have for Berkeley is they seem to be scoring points pretty easily, right? Good offense, solid offense. They can put points on the board. But like you're saying, sometimes the ease of points on the board can be the other side of the coin. Who are you playing? Right?
Who are you playing?
The thing that Berkeley's doing well is that they are beating everybody in front of them soundly, right? They are playing strong. They are beating them soundly. They're putting points up. They're doing what they should be doing. It's not like they're kind of limping through some of these games, that sort of thing. Can they match Mott?
Their athleticism, can they match up with their
Correct. If you get punched in the mouth by Mott, the Corsairs are a tough team.
Yeah, they are.
I don't care who's calling the plays. That team over the decades has always been gritty.
Right.
Gritty and tough. So that's what they're walking into. So that's...
If you're Coach Sean Shields, you got to match that intensity. You have to match that intensity. You have to basically... This is a huge game for Jake Domowski. He is your best athlete right now.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a key game. I know they got both Maurices at quarter. They got both Maurices. They got Brandon Peacher. I mean, you got them. But this is, if you want to make noise, if you want to send a message, if you're Berkeley, beat them. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's my challenge to Berkeley.
And we're not looking for style points either.
You just got to beat them.
At this point, win and move on.
Yep, you just got to beat them. Let's go to Division 1 now. Obviously, let's go with the game on Valley Sports Detroit. I'm not sure why this game's on Valley Sports Detroit, but Chippewa Valley taking on Troy.
Yeah, they should have been at Troy a week earlier.
This looks like a mismatch on paper when you look at it.
It does.
Because Troy, yes, they finished 8-1 in the blue, but Chippewa Valley plays in the MAC red.
I know.
And they're coming in angry after losing to Oxford.
And how are they making these matchups? Is it based on the points?
They do it by points and geographic. So think about this. Chippewa Valley is pretty close to Troy. It's pretty close.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
But I'm looking at it like, this goes back to the playoff system, the points, right? How close were they? So who's the top point getter in that section?
in that district. I think it's Sterling Heights, Stevenson.
Okay.
Yep.
So Troy and Chippewa Valley, were they the second tier or whatever?
Yeah.
But it's like you said, yeah, you might have the same playoff points, or you're pretty close. And you go, oh, that's a cool matchup. Nah,
No, it's not.
I don't
when
see that.
When you look at the matchup, yes. I mean,
Berkeley Mott, yes.
Berkeley Mott, yes.
No way.
No, because you got to look at inside the matchup. I mean, look at Chippewa Valley. They got a quarterback in Ryan Schuster. You look at Troy. I mean, obviously, Darius Whiteside, you know what I mean, Max Stromberg, but Troy hasn't played the schedule as Chippewa Valley has. My goodness, you look at what Chippewa Valley's had to play. I mean, besides Oxford, they've had to play. I mean, like in the MAC Red, you got to play Dakota, Romeo, Eisenhower. I mean, Grosse Pointe South. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, that's the same.
Yeah.
No,
it's not.
not even close.
I mean, Romeo even as well. I mean, like, that's not even the same. I mean, like, so.
See, and this goes to the points. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But hey, this is what it is. This is the system we've got.
Mm-hmm.
They're in.
I mean, this is not like last year with Stony Creek and Chippewa Valley.
No.
Absolutely not.
See, that is a legit matchup.
Mm-hmm. That last year's match was a legit match. I don't know about this one.
Troy could surprise you, man. Maybe they got ticked off. Avondale rolled them for over 20.
If they pull, it'll be very interesting if they pull off the upset. Be really interesting.
Oh, it'd be huge.
Be huge. That
upset. Would be very, very big upset.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk Bloomfield Hills.
Your favorite team?
No.
You're wearing a Bloomfield Hills jersey this morning?
No, I'm not.
It says champions.
No. You know who they got? We talked about this. Who they got? How do you like this to play? Novi Detroit Catholic Central.
Yeah, how do you do? Right?
So if you're in the Bloomfield Hills student section, the Bloomfield Hills cage, you're the Bloomfield Hills, like, you gotta go like, oh my God.
I know it.
We just won a blue title.
But I will say this: they are undefeated. They've played. I know you hate their schedule. The schedule is a bright, fluffy little cloud and that sort of thing. They did roll through the schedule undefeated.
And now here's your reward.
Here's your reward. But
the Shamrocks.
Hey, any team that goes undefeated, that's not easy. I don't care who you are, what your schedule looks like.
I know it's not easy.
You got to win on the road. You got to win at home.
I know it's not easy, but now you're looking at your greatest challenge. You're looking at possibly with CC. I mean, you know they got a good quarterback. You know that they like to run the ball. They can throw it on you. I mean, this is going to be probably as tough a matchup.
Okay, so let's compare it. When's the last time they had a team like this that they had to go up against? It's been a while. Right? So here's your answer.
Here's
for me, they're legit. They won. They were undefeated. They take the title, right? They win on the road. Was that Troy?
That was at Bloomfield Hills.
That was at Bloomfield Hills. Okay, they take the title. There's a lot of pressure when you're undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
They survived it. They won the title.
Survived it.
They got the hardware.
Now they have to win a playoff game. They have never done that in their school history. So if you want to win a playoff game in your school history, you win this game. You know, do I think they have a shot? I mean, it's a tough task. It is a brutal task.
Yes.
I mean, like, so if you're Coach Dan Lauria during practices this week, you got to step it up. Then some.
Yeah, there's no yay pat on the back. And you know he's going to say, you got 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then it's the next thing, right? Here's a trophy. Yay, pat on your back. It's over. You didn't win anything yet.
Right. Now you get to play your greatest matchup to date, and that is Novi Detroit Catholic Central.
Correct.
We know what they are more than capable of. We know the league they play in. We know the
and
state championship.
Where is that game at?
That is at Bloomfield Hills.
Right.
So that's going to give them an advantage here. But now you're bringing in CC. You're likely bringing in, they're going to be wearing all white. Going against Bloomfield Hills, like going to be wearing all black. You know what I mean? So it's going to be really, really interesting to see is Bloomfield Hills ready for this.
Yeah.
That's the question I asked. I asked that in the blog last week. Are they ready for this?
What was CC's record coming in?
CC, I think, was 7-2. They lost to Brother Ice, and I know they lost to De La Salle.
All right.
But
no cupcakes.
No cupcakes. So for Bloomfield Hills, are they ready for this? That's the big time question. West Bloomfield Novi. I mean,
that's an
interesting game.
It is.
This first time since 2017, these two teams met, and Novi went in the swamp and beat West Bloomfield. So
if they're not careful, I could see it again. What is Novi's record coming in?
I think they're 5-4.
All right, 5-4, limping a little.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know we're not doing picks yet, but that's an interesting. Like you said, it's interesting to see what happens. Playing at West Bloomfield is tough.
Yep.
It is so difficult. The crowd, the fan support's insane, and they play so well.
And hearing Mike Stone's voice, yep.
Yeah.
And then that could be a game worth going to see. You know
I would say yes, definitely.
That could be a game worth to see because I know several people in the West Bloomfield community invited me to go.
Really?
Yes. So
you should go. Sammy, I'd take him. I'd go.
Okay.
You should go.
Okay. You just made my decision for me.
Take a peek. Because this game, if they handle Novi,
you're looking at either Bloomfield Hills or CC.
Yes. And it could be another interesting run for West Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
If they can get past the first round and get through Novi, I think they have a good chance of going really far. I don't know why Novi is so difficult. They always, tough schedules.
Well, you remember the
Tough
Kensington
league.
Lakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're playing the likes of Northville. You got Howell, Heartland.
Some good teams.
Yeah,
right?
Belleville even as well.
Belleville, we know Belleville.
Yep, and then you got Livonia Franklin, Livonia Churchill. Good grief.
Yeah, dude.
So West Bloomfield's got their hands
I would
full.
say yes, hands full, but they're at home. That's a good.
Yes.
That's a good deal.
And then we have Clarkson Oxford. This one's going to be a really interesting game.
After all of that work
you get
and fight Oxford put in the second half to get in, and you got to go up against Clarkston again.
It's a rematch, though.
It is, and the first time around was a tight
2017.
one. Yes. So, but they're at obviously
at
Clarkston this time, and Clarkston is
Oxford
difficult.
Oxford's not afraid.
No,
no. This is the fourth meeting in 2 years that these two teams have had. Fourth meeting.
Yeah.
So these two teams know each other.
Oh, yeah.
These two teams know each other.
They do.
So Oxford is not afraid. They can go on the road and win on the road. Clarkston,
Oxford cannot afford any mistakes.
They did shut down Ethan Clark the last time at Oxford.
They have to do it again. But then you got the guy with the arm.
Mike DePillo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So pick your poison. You have to shut down Clark because that'll take the game from, extending the game to shortening that game if you get Clark on running downhill.
Mm-hmm.
They have to shut down Clark.
Mm-hmm. That's the key.
But I say Clarkson is a monster right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are rolling. That offense is clicking. That offensive line is pushing people around.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very besides Novi West Bloomfield.
The other one,
this game that's
very Adams and Lapierre's very interesting as well.
Yes, and we're at 48.
Yep, Adams and Lapierre. Let's talk that one.
Yes. And Adams, we haven't talked about Adams all day.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah, they just go undefeated, win the
white. They get a very good Lapierre team who is coming in at I think they're 7-2. They knocked off Davidson on a 48-yard field goal. I look at Mid-Michigan now, and I watch their coverage along with ABC 12 and WNEM. Loving with Lapierre. Obviously, their line is huge.
Yes.
They have a running back in Braden McKenna. Zach Wojciak's been solid at quarterback. I still don't trust his defense. So, what Coach Mike Smith has with Lapierre, I just don't trust that defense. Now you're taking on a team that runs severe. Everything looks like it's against Adams, but that Veer takes care of so many problems.
It does. It does. You can
and
react to.
Lapierre hasn't seen it in the Valley at all either.
Yeah, you can with the Veer. You can react so many different ways that will just throw that defense off its game.
But for Adams' case, they have not seen a line as huge as Lapierre's is or Braden McKenna.
Will the holes be there?
Will the holes be there?
If they have to air it out, can they?
Lapierre had some issues. If you shut McKenna down, you shut down Lapierre. That's the key. Well, if I'm Tony Petrino, I'm asking Grand Blanc for that film because that's what they did against McKenna. You know, you got to shut down McKenna. If it's McKenna and Ethan Clark are virtually the same player. They are virtually the same player.
Oof.
So
that's saying something, Sam.
You know,
and they will be at Adams, correct?
That is at Adams. So and
is that place gonna be hopping or what?
The Gold Rush. Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I mean, you're gonna have Lapierre usually brings out a lot of people. Then you have Adams. You know, for Lapierre, this is like, can they compete with the OA?
Do you think this is one of the best matchups of all the OAA teams in the playoffs?
Adams Lapierre? Yes.
I think it's the
best matchup.
I think it's the best matchup too, between two teams that are like riding high, playing strong, strength on strength. Let's see what happens.
I mean, and I think when you look at that matchup here, obviously for Adams, you know, Parker Pico is going to have to play. Griffin Hankey's going to have to play. Brody Priestcorn's going to have to play. I mean, I'm a little concerned about their matchup up front because Lapierre's line is huge, just huge. And then you look at it on the other side, Canaz's defense hold Braden McKenna. That's the key. So it'll be very interesting to watch.
Yes.
I mean, you know, because Lapierre did not look good against them. They played Grand Rapids Catholic Central, I believe. I mean, it was a Division 5 team. Didn't look very good in that one. So we'll see what happens there.
All right.
Let's do some picks now.
All right. We're at 52.
Wow. Harper Woods, River Rouge. You see Harper Woods
Baby.
You got them moving on past
I do.
Rouge.
It's going to be tight.
Likely seeing the Troy Martin Luther King next round. So it'll be really interesting there. Avondale Rice. Is this the year that
wow.
Does Avondale upset Rice? Or you're probably laughing inside the mask.
I'm smiling big. I'm going to say no. I mean, no.
Okay.
I would love to pick them. I mean, we were high on them at the start going, what are we going to get? What are we going to get? We were excited. But, you know, limping in, they got in, but I just don't see it happening.
I see Harper Woods knocking off Rouge. I do see Birmingham Brother Rice beating Avondale. It's not going to be close. I think the starstruck of being at Lawrence Tech, that's going to be, you know what I mean? That'll definitely be there for them. Division 2, Berkeley, Waterford, Mott. We know this is going to be a really good game. This might be one of the best matchups in the area.
Yeah. You know, I don't know, Sammy. Is this a toss-up? I'm going to go Berkeley by 3.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be late.
Yes.
So I think it's a 3-point swing either way. I think it's Berkeley by 3.
I'm going to take Berkeley close as well. And I think the reason why I say this is because Berkeley, I just think that they're going to have to hard fight. It's going to be a nip. It's going to be like nip and tuck. But I just think at the end of the day, I trust the Bears winning this game in survival fashion. I think they're going to win that game in survival fashion.
All right.
Division 1, Troy, Chippewa Valley. Do you see any sort of I'm looking at this matchup here and I'm saying to myself, it's on Valley Sports Detroit, but when you look at deep in the matchup here, I just don't see Chippewa. I see Chippewa Valley just going in here and blowing Troy out.
I'm high on Troy. You know that. I was last year too, right?
Yes, you were.
And but I can't take them this time.
No.
Chippewa Valley is a different beast. If teams has Troy come up with anybody out of the MAC or anything, or out of the MAC at all?
I know they played Stevenson.
Because I just know even in the OAA Red, when they go play those teams,
they get crushed.
They get crushed, or is a bloodbath. I mean, it is a battle. So if you've never played or played outside,
against the OAA Red or the MAC Red,
on your non-conference games, you have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah, and I think if you're Chippewa Valley, and Chippewa Valley's been battle tested, playing in the MAC Red.
Yes.
I mean,
I think Chippewa Valley.
I think Chippewa Valley blowout.
Sorry, Colts.
Yep. Bloomfield Hills, Novi, Detroit Catholic Central. I mean, this one's gonna be intriguing, but
You're taking CC.
I am. I mean, the reason why schedule's hurt. I mean, like more battle tested with CC.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
I don't know, man. I want. Yes, traditionally I want to say CC.
Mm-hmm. If you think Bloomfield Hills is gonna be taking that victory bell, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be stunned.
Me too. But hey, I've been wrong more than I've been right. Why not? I'll take Bloomfield Hills.
Wow.
I'm gonna try. I'll be a homer.
Wow.
I'll be an OAA homer.
That's
usually your job, but I'll be that guy.
You're gonna take the Blackhawks or the Shamrocks?
I'm gonna take them. Why not?
Oh my goodness. If
they're at home.
If that happens, I will get you a drink. I will personally get you a drink. Seriously.
Nice ice cold water will do me.
Yes, that would. Yep. But you're going.
I'm optimistic. I'd like to see that. Hey, this is. Yeah, they rolled through. The league play. Why not?
Why not? West Bloomfield, Novi. Do you see Novi pulling off the upset like 2017, or are you going West Bloomfield?
I'm going to go West Bloomfield, but it's going to be closer than people think. I think it's going to be under 10 points. And this is also going to come late. They're going to win it late. So I'm going to take Lakers. But I think this is I think it could be a statement game for West Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's looking at Clarkston and that offensive front, right? But I think this could be a statement game for West Bloomfield to say, hey, we're still here. We're the defending champs.
I'm going to take the Lakers.
I think they play like it.
I'm going to take the Lakers convincingly in this one.
So you think they're going to roll easy?
I think they'll roll easy. Adams and Lapeer. This one's interesting.
See, this is one of those flip a coin. I'm loving Adams. I've loved Adams all year. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take Adams. They're at home. That place is going to be nuts. But it's going to be I'm a broken record here, Sammy. I don't have anything written down or anything like that, but my gut's like it's going to be close. I'm going to say 10 points, Adams.
I'm going to take Adams in this game close. I think they're going to do just enough to stop McKenna. I just think they're going to do just enough. I think the Veer's going to cause Lapeer issues.
If you've never played it,
the Lightning haven't played against the Veer. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and they run it well.
Really well. So I'm going to take the Highlanders over the Lightning. Clarkston, Oxford.
Clarkston.
I'm taking the upset.
Really?
The upset. Because they've came close 3 times. Had that tough loss at Oxford. I know Clarkson got all that experience. Something magical with Oxford, though. I just think the Wildcats...
I would love to pick that, but that offensive line is making people look silly for Clarkston.
I think Oxford could go in there and pull up the upset. I think it could be a shootout. If they make it a shootout, I don't
hoping
trust
they
Clarkson's
record
defense. That'll be on independent television either.
It should be.
Clarkson Community Schools, yes.
Yeah, it should be.
So that'd be really interesting to see what happens there in those games. Okay, everybody, a minute before I let you go, keep an eye on the blog at SammySMcClellan@blogspot.com.
Yeah. Some OAA Red cross country news.
Oh, cross country news.
Lake Orion men take the championship last week over at
Oxford girls won it.
Clintonville Park, I think it was, or Clintondale Park.
Took it, yep.
And Oxford women. Now,
Bloomfield Hills also did win a white title as well.
Yep, awesome. And regionals is this Friday, so we should have the results of the regionals next week. If anything crazy doesn't happen.
Soccer, obviously.
Soccer's still going on.
Troy.
Clarkson's looking good.
Troy Clarkson Grove still in right now.
Looking good.
So we'll see what happens.
All right,
everybody, I'm signing off here. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you all next week, everybody. Take care. God bless everybody.
See you, Sam. OAA Now is produced by Sammy Taormina. The views on this show are his and mine alone. Get out there and watch these playoff games. These kids are working real hard. Get out there and cheer them on and buy a hot dog or something. That's it for this edition of OAA Now. We'll see you next week. See ya!